Taco, 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 taco tribe. Come see what taco tribe can do.
Not sure if we're gonna talk about the whole Elon Musk thing with the poll. I hope so. I would like to see what you people think about it. I definitely voted yes. I'm not afraid to say the truth.
I
don't know
voted
what
yes
you guys
too,
voted.
but I heard that he is not actually abiding by that poll, and he just did it to weed out bots. That's what I heard.
Oh, I heard that he's only going to take the blue ticks into consideration, which it'd be interesting to see what that response is, and like, why did you interact with it? Like, why? Just don't interact with him. Just like is what he wants. If you don't like him, don't interact with him. Like, that's the easiest answer.
That's true. Come on,
I mean, I
Zoko.
liked him before he started bullshitting.
Oh, I'm back. I was making a sandwich. I just wanted to say hi. It's like a turkey ham Swiss.
It's Taco Tuesday though.
It's for dinner. Tacos are for dinner, man. This is alone.
Sorry, here it's 11:30, so we already had dinner.
Yeah, usually we have a late dinner. It's 1:30 p.m. right now though.
So, what did you vote, Zalgo, in the poll?
Oh, for Musk's poll?
Yeah.
I said yeah, and then on my other account I said no. So I don't know what that means. But yeah.
Good move. What was the idea behind that? That if they take down the account that voted yes, you will still have the other account that voted no.
Well, I mean, on my founder's account, on my R account, I voted no. On Zago, I voted yes. Genuinely, I think we're talking about him stepping down, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, stepping down, but keeping Twitter like
yeah, definitely.
An
Genuinely, my genuine opinion. This is even recorded, and Elon can even come back and see this in the future if he wanted to. I think he should definitely step down as CEO. My genuine opinion for something that so many people rely on. I actually brought this up in the little group chat too that they have in the taco chat. What's the moral obligation of a service that millions of people rely on? Like you have to do what's better or what's best for the benefit of man and the benefit of society. That's my genuine opinion. So taking that into regards, I think Twitter should go decentralized, but I don't know. There's a lot of government research and a lot of just genuine research that you can do privately, and you can sell that for a lot of money. So,
but at the end of the day, wasn't that the initial plan of Elon? I mean, I can't imagine that a businessman like him would just think that he will stay forever as CEO in Twitter. I mean, he's not the CEO in his other companies. Why Twitter? Yes, Dave.
I mean, even if he steps down, let's be entirely frank. Right now, it won't change any decisions being made. They will still be made by Elon. And like the fact that I'm not a fan of how he presents himself. I think he will make Twitter better, and Twitter needs to change. Like that is clear from the drop off in use of it before all of this started happening. It needs updates. It was losing out massively to TikTok and some of the other socials that are around short format videos and educational content and things like that. But it's going to be painful. And him being CEO or him not being CEO when he owns the company and he's got to pay back $1 billion a year in debt. Means that he's going to make the decisions that are going to drive income to the platform. And I suppose in a way that, that unpopular decision could mean that the platform, it's what Zalgo says, right? It's making the decision that's best for the platform and the people that are using it. But potentially going through that change and that hardship is going to cause a lot of pain. And I'm thinking of this from Elon's perspective more than mine a little bit, really. For me, like, it's just like rubbish at the moment because there's no consistency. You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow in regards to Twitter. You don't know whether you're going to be seen or not. You don't know if you're going to be able to post a link or not. You don't know if your money that you're paying is going to give you the services that you've been told you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to have to pay more if you sign up for those services next month than what's available now. Like, there's just so much like uncertainty, and I think that's the biggest problem. And when our livelihoods rely upon that in a way, whether that's for exposure or whether that's for income, and the platforms that we've built, like, that uncertainty causes a lot of stress, upset, and concern. So yeah, it's gonna be difficult on Twitter for a little while.
Well, isn't it weird though? I mean, Twitter depends on us, like the average user. If Elon makes us feel insecure using Twitter, isn't it? I mean, it's bad for his own business, isn't it? I mean, how someone decides to just act like this? I cannot get it.
I mean, honestly, I think it's because he wants Twitter seen. I think it's as simple as a mix between that and he believes he's right. And, like, when's Twitter not been on the front pages of news for the last month? Like, apart from in crypto, because it's been, Sam. But, like, other than that, like, he's been on the front page of the mainstream news, like, pretty much consistently now for 6 or 7 weeks. And Twitter use is up, and it's just visibility, and he doesn't really care about the cost of that visibility at the moment because it's not relevant to what happens in 6 months. Like, or it could be a lot darker, or he could just be an egomaniac who needs to be right. I could be wrong. I hope I'm right.
Well, yeah, I get this, but on the other hand, I suppose, like, I felt that I must also have a look around about other platforms. I suppose a lot of people, maybe you guys also did. Like, I felt insecure, especially after what happened 2 days ago. I felt really insecure, and I was like, okay, man, maybe you should start looking also for other platforms. And if the average user is getting ideas like this, it's not going to be long before Twitter is on the news, not only for Elon's bullshit, but also because it will start losing a lot of users from the platform.
I would 100% agree with you.
It's weird.
100% agree with you on that. For the first time in history, I did look at Mastodon. I mean, I've heard a lot about Mastodon, but I was like, I'm curious, like, what's Mastodon? After all this Twitter drama, you're entirely right. And I can't be the only person in the world that was like, what's going on with Mastodon right now? Like,
I know, right? Yeah, I mean, it's exactly how I felt. And, it was the first time that I felt that because Mastodon is not new. A lot of other platforms are not new. I mean, let's take Instagram, right? I'm in the space with in NFTs for over a year now. Instagram was always a thing for NFTs. It wasn't as popular as Twitter. Especially now, it's pretty dead. But we used it during the bull. Why not jump back there? But for over a year now, I never thought like this. I was like, Twitter is what it is. It's the major thing for you in the space that you're working on. So now it was the first time I felt like I have to really start looking around.
You should have been on that. You should have been on that before, Nico. Really, and we all should have been if we weren't doing it before. I mean, I've had accounts in a lot of other places for a period of time, and it's short-sighted to rely on a platform. Even before Elon, there was a few select people that made the decisions, and you never know what change could potentially happen. So, like, if the end outcome of this is we all end up spreading our visibility to other platforms, building different and alternative audiences for the things that we've got going on, then it means that we can offer a greater support to the people that we're growing with. It means that we've got greater visibility as a community as a whole across a much greater space and sphere, and that's a good thing.
Well, you're right. Okay, I admit that obviously you need a second plan when you're working on things, and obviously most of us in the space we didn't. But on the other hand, there's a reason. Okay, and the reason was that the way that Twitter was working till now, it was a way that was making us feel secured. Now we feel insecure.
I don't disagree at all, Nico, and I think like the constant change and add that into an environment where we all work in, where those feelings are natural as well. Within the crypto industry, the period of time the crypto industry is in as a whole, not just NFTs, but with what's going on behind the scenes, and all of this uncertainty just adds to that like boiling pot, doesn't it? So you're like completely validated to have those thoughts, and as is everyone else. Like it's a completely understandable thought process and way to feel in these, not just in these times in general, but specifically in regards to Twitter. We've all put a lot of time and effort to build in here. Like all of us in this room, and the worry is obviously, like you say, that's going to be for nothing. So you're not going to be the only one having those concerns, and I'm glad that you're talking about them.
Yeah, and there's also another thing that we need to address. It's also that the whole space, the NFT space, it was working so far on Twitter and was building on Twitter, and there is now also uncertainty whether the space will be ready for the next bull market if we keep on having these problems with Twitter. Because if I'm not saying that it's gonna happen soon, right, to return back to the bull market, but we don't know how long it's gonna take for Elon and Twitter to let's say calm down and let us work. So there is a chance that when the bull market is back, will not be ready to work on it. And that's also a major concern for me.
Even worse, Elon ruins the reputation in the next upcoming months so bad that all the users actually do disappear off of Twitter, and we actually need like a whole nother platform. But no, that's a genuine concern, though. I appreciate that genuine concern. That's like looking at the bigger picture kind of concern.
Yeah, but imagine if we have to just sack Twitter and I don't know, go to Mastodon or wherever, and you need to start building from the beginning. You have passed a whole bear market that you're suffering from losses, no liquidity. A lot of projects are just burning the liquidity that they created during the previous bull market right now. And imagine you have to start building from the beginning and just lose everything that you have built it here. and then the bull market is here, and you are unprepared.
I completely agree with that. Hello, everyone. I completely agree with that. But I feel like uh, if that does happen, like we do have to switch over to a different platform, whether it's Skirpy, Lens, Mastodon, something like that. The people that like all of us in here, like if I go over to a new platform, I'm gonna look everybody up that I want to connect with and connect with those people. And yeah, like our followings would probably be a lot smaller, but like the true connections that we already made will still be there. And I think it's just another opportunity to because potentially the algorithm is going to be a lot different. It's a potential for you to find new people that probably would not have found you on Twitter or uh, the other social media platforms.
Well, Paco, sure, but I mean, right now uh, there are a bunch of tools that a lot of people use, and they are dedicated to Twitter. I mean, for example, we are using Twitter Deck, right, to coordinate the team with the tweets and everything. That's dedicated to Twitter. When we're gonna move to a new platform, it's not just about connecting with other users and our holders and members, etc., etc. It's also how we're gonna organize the work. That that's something that we need to build from the beginning, and I don't know if other platforms are exactly prepared for something like that at the moment.
Well, I feel like if it does turn out that we need a new platform, it's gonna be a while until it's basically going to be like a platform is going to start getting a lot of users. They're going to start getting a lot of feedback that they need things like that. And then they'll eventually start building things like that. Like that's the social media that everybody will flock to. The one that gets the initial push of everybody going to it. And then the one that continues building on the things that we need to grow and survive basically in the NFT space. So it definitely, I don't think would happen right away, but I think like there's like Lens and I think that's really the only one I know that's like directly connected to the blockchain. And I think they're already doing some really great stuff, but it's also still very bare bones because it had just started. Like it sucks because Twitter's been around for a long time, so they've honed in on what they the things that they've built already and things like that, but at the same time like it's yeah, like Elon is like adding stuff, but it's also like he's taken one step forward and a few steps back. Dave?
Yeah, I think Monaco's a Web3 platform that you can look into as well. I think that's purely like this, and there's more coming. Like Quilt Chat are working on stuff at the moment, putting things out in beta, and there's plenty of others as well that are doing things. I mean, like MySpace died, didn't it? Like I don't think Twitter will, but if it does, like we'll be all right. Not just us as individuals, but the community that's on Twitter as a whole. Like it'll be a painful experience. And I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But we're resilient. We bounce back from these things. We've already built core followings and supporters and people that are with us through thick and thin because of what we've done, and we've built alternative communication channels with those guys already. Like we've all got people in Discords that we're part of. We've all got people, I don't know, signed up to blogs or in emails or lists of wallet addresses that have bought your project. There's a myriad of ways that we can keep in contact with the people that we've already built into that support structure. So I mean, it is a concern. You're 100% right. Like it's not a nice thought to think about, but worst case scenario, like we will be all right, and there'll be enough places for us. So I think that the focus kind of needs to be on like where we're at now, what can we do to maximize the current situation, and how do we move forward both on Twitter in case it ends up being amazing, but also pushing our exposure on these alternative platforms, especially things like Instagram and Reddit, where there's a real drive and push for NFTs at the moment. And, you know, the success on Reddit's been insane. I wish I could find some time to start building on Reddit. I really do.
Yeah, I don't think that Twitter will eventually die in that sense at all, because of what they've built previously. But I do think that it's going to be a lot of trial and error, especially with like Elon running it and doing things like that. But because at the NFT space and Elon knows that Twitter is the main source social media that people gather on, I think eventually it will grow to something that is, right now, you know, it's needed to grow your um your community and things like that. But I think in the future it'll be like a must. Like, and right now it is a must, but I think that there'll be more tools coming out to you know, like buy and sell on Twitter and directly and things like that. And I think it's just a matter of time before they get it right. Like right now, like, you know, when Elon first took over, he like tweeted out saying something like, "Oh, we're gonna make a lot of mistakes and things like that," and like that is to be expected, especially with somebody who does run a bunch of businesses but has never run a social media before. So he's kind of getting thrown into the mix. He kind of screwed up and, you know, decided to buy it or whatever, and, you know, doesn't really know what he's doing, trying a lot of different things. I mean, I can never understand why he thought that putting third party links off of Twitter would ever be a good idea, but um, there's going to be a lot of trial and error in the next few years to actually get it right and like get it where it like really needs to be. Um, it's going to take a while, I think.
And he's competing with Google essentially right now, isn't he? That's what you've got to think. If he wants to become that place where you can do everything, that provides all of those services, where you can pay for anything, like his direct competitor from a Web2 perspective is Google. That's the place that's furthest ahead. That's the place that's closest to all of this stuff. And if you look at like Web3 investment as well, Google are doing hackathons, they're sponsoring stuff. Like they want Web3 like pay features, I'm pretty certain, added into the Google Wallet and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, that's where we're going with Twitter. Clearly, that's where he wants to go with Twitter if he's allowed to, anyway. So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard work, like you say, and it's it's going to be fun. Like, yeah, it's the same time as having all of the stress and difficulties. I think there'll be a lot of fun through this journey too.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's definitely going to be a little stressful, but it's definitely going to be very fun and interesting to see like what comes along. Like, I'm sure they'll be implementing things that we never thought of, that were like, oh wow, why didn't we have this before? And I just think it's a matter of time of like I said, like trial and error and things like that. I don't think it's a bad thing to try and branch out to like different social medias like Mastodon and stuff like that, and Quilt Chat and Lens. It's definitely would not hinder your growth at all. Um, but I think that Twitter is and will always remain like the space to originally and connect with your holders and grow. Like that's where everybody goes to get like their news, their updates about the projects that are interested in. And I really don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon. Like it's really awesome, I think, that the community can speak out, and I'm specifically talking about like the posting of third party links. Like the whole space like went crazy and was like, this is the dumbest shit, and within a few hours they reverted it, which is nice to see that we actually have a voice and we actually like can speak our mind and have an effect on it. Because I'm sure there'll be more things coming up that he'll change that we love and things that we hate. And it seems like he'll be listening to the community when he like implements stuff like that. And hopefully he does what he says and he like talks about it before and gets the feedback before he actually implements it. But for now, we kind of just have to wait and see. Um, But I think overall Twitter is gonna grow to be the NFT like powerhouse. Honestly, I don't really think anybody's going anywhere unless some other social media comes out of the blue and has everything you ever think you would need. But then honestly, because Twitter's so big, honestly, they could probably just implement those things. So I don't think that really we're gonna be going anywhere. Like Twitter's where it's at. I would.
Well,
Do you think?
can I ask though, Ryan? I mean, if he takes down link trees, okay, if you cannot link uh, basically your work to Twitter, because essentially that's what he's doing, taking down Linktree. What are you going to do? Aren't you going somewhere else? Just sticking around?
Well, so specifically talking about Linktree, which he did revert, by the way. So you can right now you can have your Linktree in your website. So they deleted the tweet on the Twitter support page. They deleted that policy change page. They deleted everything. Just completely got rid of it. So you are allowed to have your Linktree up right now and post out to your social medias and do all of that. Um, but I think overall, if that were to happen, let's say, I actually just recently put the link tree in the profile, and mainly I had my website link in there, which is basically a link tree of itself. So I think if they were to implement something like that, you would still be able to link out to your website, and it wouldn't really it would it would be lame, and a lot of people would probably have to get a website and build out a website, but I don't think it would be the end all be all of everything if they got rid of link trees. Like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, that's how people make money, but like, in all honesty, you could pay somebody 50 $100 and they can make you a really awesome website with basically like a link tree page on it. So I don't think that's really like a end all be all.
Don't know, man. We have a lot of OnlyFans people here in Twitter.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't know if they're willing
they may
to.
sell a couple nudies and have somebody build you a website, and it would probably be a billion times better than your link tree. You could have teaser images up there instead of just a list of links. It's not like people will adapt. They will adapt. If someone's on OnlyFans and they can't post their link tree, but they need to get their social medias out there and they know they can post their own website, that's what they'll do. They'll make a website, they'll link their website, and we'll adapt to what we actually need to do. But honestly, I really don't think that it's going to come to that anymore. He saw the response, and apparently, I don't know who I was talking to about this, but apparently there's like a law coming out in like March or May in like the UK or something where it's like illegal to stifle people from posting links that lead outside of the other social media. Like, you can't like gatekeep and only have people there. So I don't think it's that feature or policy is ever going to come back. Maybe they'll like fine tune it or do something, but um, I really don't think that that's actually going to be implemented again. And like
He
I said,
did also.
people will adapt. We say, Dave?
I was going to say he did also promise a vote for any major changes moving forward as well. I don't know if he'll hold true to that, but that's something that he said. Like when he took down, or he said, before I make any more major changes, I accepted that I'm wrong on this account. Next time there'll be a vote. So, no, I mean, for all of the negatives, the guy that can say that he was wrong, even if he was forced, that's a positive thing for me. And again, means that he wants to let the people who use Twitter make the decisions a little bit, if not all of them.
Yeah, I completely agree. As long as he's like, he could have, the whole space could have been in an uproar, and he could have been like completely silent and just said, "This is how it's gonna be." but instead he like listened to the community and kind of like reverted, stepped back when the policy wasn't taken very lightly. Nico?
Yeah, wait a minute, because I like Elon, but someone needs to make the right questions here, right? When we say vote, first of all, we don't mean the polls, right? Like the poll that he made previously.
Well, I really hope that when he says vote, he doesn't just post something on his own. I would hope that like the Twitter account would maybe, I mean, I guess they could have their own little stupid Twitter poll, but like I would hope that they have like a page like, okay, so I play this game called Old School RuneScape, and every time they want to implement something, they have a poll that the users vote for, and it needs to have like a 70% approval rating in order for it to get passed, and that's just the first initial step. Then they refine it, they build it out, and then they come back and say, okay, this is what we have, do you like this? Like, I think something like that would be very beneficial. Like, I think having something where the poll is like kind of like posted on your um, timeline, kind of like an advertisement, would be very helpful so that everybody will see it, and it's not like you have to be looking out for it on like the Twitter, so on the Twitter, like the at, or like Elon's page or anything like that. I feel like it should be in your face. It should be well known, and try to get as many people using the service already to vote on the implementation of a new policy.
Yeah, there's a small detail though here. I am under the impression that because I think I read it somewhere in some tweets or something that the whole voting thing that he claims to do is going to be for subscribers, not for every user. And you understand that doing that, it's not the best. First of all, it's not what you're saying that you want him to do. And secondly, I think it will create a pretty massive, how can I say this, conflict of interest between the average user and people that they have blue ticks and subscriptions.
I can agree with that. And it probably would not be beneficial, but at the same time, it could be something like that because he is trying to drive sales and profit from the community. So if he implements where only people that are paying for Twitter Blue vote, um, again, it would be not beneficial for everyone, but at the same time, um, I don't think it would be the end all be all because he knows that the people that have Twitter Blue are here to stay, instead of just a random account that never goes on Twitter, and just like somebody maybe like bots like spamming, like somebody who's got 100 bots isn't going to buy Twitter Blue for 100 bots. So it would definitely, I feel like, not hinder the poll at all. Dave?
I think it's like anything, isn't it? We get a little bit wrapped up in where we are and what we're using Twitter for, and we kind of maybe forget a little bit about how many people use Twitter for different reasons, and why they use Twitter. And because we use Twitter to push a brand or to push content or to build a profile or to build visibility or whatever it happens to be, we're seeing Twitter as a business opportunity. If paying for Twitter makes Twitter better for content creators, and to drive people who are willing to do that by giving them perks such as being able to vote on the platform and giving them genuine reasons to become subscription members, then like, it could be really, really beneficial to the platform. And yes, it's going to be frustrating. It's going to put barriers in place for some people. There's going to be affordability. There always is when you have pay to play. And it's, like it's going to be difficult for some people, but hopefully there's ways around that. Hopefully as a community we can come together and figure out some ways around that to give people a voice who wouldn't otherwise be able to get one through that subscription model. But it's definitely going to be going that way. And again, if the money flows in through that and gives us better visibility, better reach through what we're doing as content creators, whether that's in regards to Taco Tribes as a profile and a brand, or whether that's in regards to like different individual things, then that's got to be a good thing. Again, long-term view. Short term, there's going to be a lot of pain, like we keep saying. It's going to be difficult. Like there's no hiding away from that.
Yeah, and just knowing that, let's say they do implement that, Nico, and you have to have Twitter Blue, and the community uproars, I feel like they would maybe do something where they could backtrack and just open it up to everybody, because it is proven that he'll listen to the community. So I think that's a big step in developing. Obviously, it's a huge step listening to the community and developing the social media and Twitter and stuff like that. So I don't think that I think the poll system, if they can do it right, would be beneficial, whether it's only Twitter Blue, because he knows the people are staying, he knows they're contributing to the platform, and obviously a lot of people that don't have Twitter Blue are contributing to the platform. But I think that would be a way to like stop somebody from creating a billion fucking bots and just voting on the poll and stuff like that, because they're not going to buy Twitter Blue for all those accounts. I would definitely love to know what Bry thinks about all of this, like about if he thinks Twitter's going to be around for a while, if he thinks there's going to be another social media that might pop up, if should Twitter be decentralized. Bri, if you have anything that you've been saving up.
Yeah, I definitely do. I see this as it's kind of a pivoting situation, right? So we're always going to run into situations where we have to evolve, and that's just technology or any kind of technological foundation. It's just in the breed of it. So, I mean, I really don't have a problem with what's going on. My engagement, if anything, has went up. I mean, like, I don't even have to like go out and like ask people or DM people. I just throw out a tweet, and I usually just get stuff back from it. So, from my perspective, but this is more for the lines of people that are actually keeping the lights on, people that are developing in the sciences of it. I see this as becoming a problem for people that are in marketing, people that are just in this field for like, talking, promoting, stuff like that. I see a lot of them having problems with, they need to have these links. Their engagement's going down. They're going to have a lot of problems going in the future with this stuff. If anything, I see a platform coming out for content creators and artists, possibly, and I see people like Skirpy's already, streamlining this. So the best part is if something does happen, and artists and content creators aren't allowed to get their stuff across, there is already, some options that are going to be out there. If anything, we see what happens with Elon too. So if he he got a lot of backlash about the links, huge backlash about the links, and it kind of caused him to have to take a step back and say, "Hey, this is going to cause huge problems with the field. I'm going to need to, I'm going to need to change my plans because I just, PO'd a lot of people." So I see it as a growing opportunity, but an opportunity nonetheless to see, as you said, decentralization, different avenues, different, strokes that people have to take. As I said, it's going to be different. So, people that have, got 10,000, 15,000, followers from the last bull market that aren't even around anymore, they're going to be fighting for a lot of engagement and stuff like that. I mean, this year coming up is going to be the year for builders, going to be the year for technology. If you're, like these sources, these links, and these these very shallow opportunities that we have with like these proxy contracts and stuff like that. They're gonna deflate and devalue, and a lot of people are gonna need to get their hands on the tech. Like like if they do this link trade, as you said, people are gonna need to do websites. They're gonna need to learn how to put their stuff out there to be able to connect their links without having any kind of problems with that. So if anything, this is going to be a big year for tech, a big year for people with their getting their hands on, doing a lot of cool stuff, building, learning how to build out, which is really good too, because we really need to move away from the realm of just this generalized talk. We need people that are specialized. So everyone knows me, everyone knows what I stand for, and I really look into the future of like when you get your information, you're not getting it from somebody that their only accreditation is Twitter followers. They're getting it because they have the backgrounds, they help teach, they help migrate people into these new paths. And I see this diversification as a much needed stepping stone. So I see people getting specialized in the future because of this. I see people building out websites and just evolving with the times. So, like no matter what he does, as I said, there's going to be options, and it's going to cause people to do some really brilliant stuff. I'm saying like we got Secret down there, right? Like Secret was upset that Elon was doing what he was doing, and she does have a background in computing and stuff like that. Well, that could help her take the extra step into like building websites and tailoring her work and stuff like that, and getting another approach and another available option out there on the internet that can show up in algorithms and stuff. So if anything, that this is going to give people the necessary kick to grow and evolve with this field.
Yeah, I and like I said previously, like we all evolve and adapt and stuff like that, and I feel like it's going to bring out a lot of people that are and a lot of people will hone their skills in order to grow with the times. So I definitely agree with everything you just said. Do you think another platform like Lens, like Quote Chat or Mastodon, will start to grow their user base because of things like this, or do you think that do you think that Twitter should be decentralized? Like, should it? I mean, I feel like it would completely pivot. I don't even know how that would work or anything like that. But do you think other social medias will start to see growth because of the changes and the uncertainty?
100%. Oh yeah, you can already start to see the kind of growth. People talking like got Hermes, Meta rides and stuff like that, and they start to see this uptick in like Instagram Reels and other platforms, and people are starting to really just push over those platforms. So they're starting to get this like easy growth. I already see it starting to happen. I think we're going to have that. I think that there is some vulnerabilities right now on Twitter. I think that it's scaring a lot of people. I think that a lot of the general public, like there's a whole like startup public, people that want to get out there, people that want to get their projects, but there's usually like a fear index. So there's like people that are like, I want to start a project and I want to get involved in social media, but I don't know, right? And so when we were in that bull run, I mean, people didn't really have problems with it. They're like, okay, let me just take the opportunity. Everybody's doing it. But now, not only do we have the bear market, but we also have problems with Twitter and free speech and things along that. So I see people already making the jump into other platforms. But as always, it's going to be Twitter. Twitter is one of the biggest business-linked social medias. And until they really break that whole mentality, I want to say that there will be growth, but there's still, unless Twitter completely falls on its face, I think it's definitely going to be around. I think that pivoting to a decentralized standing, like having it so it was more of a peer-to-peer service, I could see that definitely becoming a possibility. And that's kind of where I hope Elon would go. The whole like peer-to-peer. I mean, like he started with like PayPal and stuff like that. And the whole idea of managing these nodes in these certain ways. I mean, like we have these handheld devices. Everybody, I'm talking to one right now, right? These are nodes. We're all connected through nodes. There's no reason there shouldn't be some decentralized already. The only thing I could think of is all those policies and procedures that allowed people to use it as a control vessel. Once those go down, and a certain amount of engineering and rework goes to it, I can totally see it as a really cool, not just like a version, but a really cool and optimized decentralized social media if they did it right. But mind you, that has to be in some very like benevolent hands.
It's the dream.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be awesome. Zalgo, what do you think about that?
I'm writing tweets right now. I think that it honestly is the dream to move towards a decentralized platform. I mean, I wasn't really paying too much attention. I'll admit I wasn't paying too much attention to exactly what was going on, but I did come back at that point, and I was like, yes, decentralized topics, yes, decentralized platform, yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, yes. Precisely though. I mean, I do have opinions on that if you want me to
Yeah,
talk
so
about
I
that.
mean,
Otherwise,
I'll
this
ask
is me
you
like
the same thing I just asked Brian. I would love to hear your opinion. So do you think that because of all the different and uncertainty and the changes that are happening on Twitter, that other social medias like Lens, like Mastodon, like even let's say Skirpy are growing in user base and being used more often? Do you think that Twitter will basically like pull up its bootstraps and eventually get on the right path? And do you think that a decentralized social network would be more beneficial than centralized? And do you think that Twitter should be decentralized?
All right, so I'll start off with kind of what I know going into the history. I mean, I was kind of like following along with the whole Elon while as he was buying Twitter and stuff. There was some, and I don't know if I talked about this in a space prior. I don't know if anybody remembers me talking about this, but there were some messages that were leaked between Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk. And Jack Dorsey, interestingly enough, originally said that Twitter isn't actually what it's supposed to be today. It was supposed to be in a protocol. It was supposed to be an API. You're supposed to just literally like it's supposed to be for the people. It wasn't supposed to be a whole social media ordeal. So I thought that was quite interesting. I think if Twitter originally went with the whole API aspect, I think it would have adapted extremely well with what was happening in terms of decentralization, blockchain, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, as it stands, Twitter is purely a social media platform that is here for profit, and the man just spent 44 billion, so he's got to make at least some of it back. So it's going to be a while before we actually see a realization of true decentralization, in my opinion, as far as it comes to Twitter itself. As far as other social media platforms, though, I mean, it is the time to really start building. We're starting to see a lot of like this entire chat has been today. A lot of like people talking about other platforms, a lot of other people being interested in platforms. I think the user base of Twitter has gone down a little bit. I think it's been, I think everybody's watching it, but I think everybody's just watching it because it's kind of like you don't just kind of ignore a dumpster on fire in the corner sort of ordeal. But at the same time, the dumpster can go out and it doesn't always have to be a dumpster. So I think we're at a very, very interesting time in the lifetime of Twitter. I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that I built on Twitter in the last year. Nico, go ahead. I have another story to go into.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm listening here, and I don't know if it is the language barrier or I live somewhere else and I cannot see everything exactly the same way you guys did. Can someone explain to me why Elon Musk would ever want to decentralize Twitter or a decentralized Twitter? I mean,
I'm on the same page. So like, what would be the benefits of doing that?
in my opinion, none. Yeah,
No,
go ahead, Zalgo. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're entirely right. He wouldn't want to. This is just hypothetically speaking. This is Twitter's not decentralizing itself. Nothing's happening with Twitter. Twitter is just bought for $44 billion. So this is just hypothetically speaking. But the benefit of decentralizing a platform like Twitter goes back to like the moral obligation of a service that millions of people use and rely on, right? It's like you don't, or rather, put it in this perspective. When you go to the grocery store, you don't expect the groceries to be gross. You expect them to be inspected. You expect them to be of a certain tier. You don't expect to get sick, so on and so forth, right? I mean, like, you don't expect to get taken advantage of by certain services that so many people rely on or so many people use to even make a living. But it does happen every single day, right? And we do see that stuff happen with like Facebook social engineering and stuff like that. Big corporation social engineering. And it's pretty gross, but at the same time, it gives us a lot of information. On the contrary, it goes back to the moral, to the more like the morality of the entire situation, the ethics of the situation. Is it ethical to watch all the people? Is it ethical to make a choice for to be millions and millions of people? Um, it's the shoe doesn't fit everybody, so it gets really, really difficult.
Yes, go on.
Go ahead, Dave. Yeah.
I mean, the true, like for decentralized of anything, it's ownership, isn't it? It's end user ownership. Like that's the benefit of anything being decentralized when you break it down, is that you own whatever it is you're putting into it. And what comes back through what you're putting into it as much as that. So if it's Twitter and data or Google and data, like the decentralized aspect, the purpose really for an end user of decentralization is to own your data, to own your content, and so that Twitter doesn't own it. Depending on your use case as an individual, decentralization is going to mean different things. You're going to like it's going to have different priorities for you, and it's going to be of different relevance. For like people like Bri, Zalgo, Devin building stuff all of the time, and they want to build that in a decentralized manner. Then how they code that, how they build that from the ground up, how they potentially put that code out there for other people to use as well. They're all different sort of decentralization mechanics and decisions that need to be made. But yeah, I think for your average end user, it's about owning your stuff, and I think that's the joy and the priority of decentralization. Whether that's NFTs, whether that's social media, whether that's your website, whether that's what you search on the internet.
Thank you so much, Dave. That was a great summation. Yeah, I was getting little off topic. No, definitely though. That was, I mean, it does mean different things to different people. And to me, obviously, it means like, I think a lot about the ethics and the morality of a service that a lot of people use. I don't ever want to get taken advantage of. I want to own my own data. I want to own my own. What I put in is what I put in, right? I don't want other people just to get the stuff that I put in for free necessarily. I mean, at the same time, I mean, as a founder, that's what I want. As a founder, I want everybody to have everything for free. But personally, as a person in society, you shouldn't want to put in a lot of work and just be taken advantage of. You want to get what you put in. That's as a basis, that's what you want.
So what do we think? And this is a completely different subject, but what do we think that is missing right now on a social media to benefit the NFT community? So the other day, I was actually talking to, um, was it Blockify, Blockum? I was talking to the guy who created Blockum, which, if you guys don't know, is a Chrome extension that before you interact with a contract will check to see if that contract has had any nefarious activity on it. I use it all the time. It's just an automatic extension. You install it, and every time you click mint or every time a transaction pops up, it shows you a warning or a not warning that it's good to go of the contract you're interacting with. So it could, if it's nefarious or has any um, previous connections with nefarious contracts. But I was talking to them the other day because they are developing not a social media per se, but a page where you can, and they're still in early development. They actually asked me about what they think they should add and some features they're going to be adding on. And I can't, it hasn't launched yet, so I definitely can't give too much info, but it seems like they're definitely listening to the community and trying to build something where, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like a link tree, but it it has a lot of info connected to like the the deployment wallet with your NFT project or just your personal wallet, and it has a lot of things that I think um, should be shown if you're, especially not so much a personal wallet, because obviously we're decentralized. If someone doesn't want their wallet um, info really out there if they're connected to that wallet, but I think it would be very beneficial for collections and being very transparent about the funds that the collection has, especially if it's kind of like me, like we donate a certain percent to the charity, and the rest basically stays into the contract or the wallet that uses those funds to continuously build the community. But and when I get some more info about when they're launching and stuff like that, I'll definitely share a little bit more. But I feel like they're doing a lot, and if you guys don't know about them, I'd suggest following them recently. It's Blockem, just Blockem. I think they're going to be doing something that is pretty needed in the community. But back to my original question: is what do we think is missing right now? Like, what could be implemented on, let's say, even just Twitter, that could be very beneficial to the NFT community? And if Bri wants to go first, just because you have some knowledge about the back end and things like that, like what do you think is missing right now?
That's a really good question. I see that we really haven't made that jump really from Web 2 to Web 3. There's a lot more things going on with wallets and tokens and the ability for funds being transferred from profile to profile. Like I like to see like the profiles start to be like you get a profile, you get a wallet, your wallet is associated with everything. You'd be able to go through your pictures. They would be like your NFTs. It's a whole, you don't have to go on to different platforms to be able to do that kind of stuff. I want to be able to sell my PFP to somebody and buy somebody else's PFP. And I want to be able to just network through the blockchain, because that's really where it's the new internet. It's like we're backing everything on this Web 2 server base, and it's causing this gap really between everything, causing us to go to different links. We have to go to OpenSea. This whole problem with the whole linkage is comes from the idea that it's centralized in Web 2. If the NFTs were all there, if your tokens were all there, if I wanted to send some guac, should be able to send a guac right on Twitter to somebody or something like that. Just be like, tip bot here, send guac to this ad address, and then immediately show up into their Twitter wallet. And just be able to associate with that, like have it like KYC. That's your verification. Everybody knows that wallet is associated to you. It's kind of like the blend with the whole ENS system too. Like the whole Twitter should be like ENS, but that's your Twitter handle associated to your PFPs, and that is just your personal online identity. And I could see something like that really thriving.
So do you think that it would be more beneficial for a exchange to build out kind of like a social media side, like OpenSea having like a social media side, or do you think it would be more beneficial for, like, let's say, Twitter to build out almost what you were describing, like an exchange side?
Yeah, definitely, like either or, right? So I feel like an exchange might not hit the mark right, but a social media side coming out the idea, building that whole market, e-commerce and the whole community background that surrounds that, I could see that an easier transition happening from social media into that than the other way around, because I feel like the whole idea of what their business ethics are, because I mean the whole idea of the business ethics, especially when it comes to the financial industry, is the only responsibilities they have are to the company themselves. So at that point you'd have to realize that the exchanges, they're only set there to make money, and their only responsibility is to make money for the business. Whereas if it's a social media company, their ethics should be at that range to the community, because the community would be the company. So the idea is that there would be more ethics, at least more good morale ethics, going from social media to a exchange compared to vice versa.
Oh yeah, that I feel like that would make a lot of sense. I feel like if Twitter did do something like that, like enabled you to not have to leave, I mean, I feel like that could be a giant step forward in the right direction. Like I could buy your PFP, I could sell, list, all that stuff, just doing everything directly on Twitter. I feel like that would also be greatly not beneficial for exchanges. You know, you go to the exchange to see all the, you would still, I feel like, go to the exchange to see all of the collection and stuff, but I feel like a lot more people would be using a social media quote unquote exchange, because you see being promoted instead of like, and I mean, I guess this would help them, like instead of linking off to a different an exchange or a different medium to sell the NFT. And I feel like in general, with Elon Musk trying to build the revenue, obviously they would take a cut, I feel, but I think that would definitely be beneficial for Twitter to do something like that. What do you think, Dave?
It might be Rogan.
Oh, Dave.
Yeah, I think he's
Dave's
up.
rugged. Okay, Nico, what do you think about that?
Well, this is a very deep question. I mean, I never really thought about it, but I so uh, well, to be honest, I got into Twitter basically in 2012, thinking that Twitter will be a new form of democracy, and like an ancient Athenian agora where everyone would get inside and contribute with his opinions. And of course, I don't want to get into politics, but so far, it doesn't look like this is where we're heading. Now, if we do this like because I've heard Bree and Zalgo, and they're talking a lot about how this would work business wise. And to be honest, I would really like to avoid that. I don't want to see Twitter turn into a space that money will get involved too much, and we start buying and selling shit, because at the end of the day, it's just going to become another marketplace, and the people that will be inside will only care about that, about making sales. It's not really what I dreamt about Twitter, to be honest. That's my opinion on that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was listening.
Yeah.
I completely
No, I was thinking that I was ragging too.
no. I completely agree with what you said, but at the same time, um, like I had said previously, like the space is changing, especially since NFTs are such a big part of Twitter now. I think that's just kind of like a logical step. Like more money is going to be being involved, and like, you know, a lot of people got into the space to just make money, and a lot of people got into the space to hone their craft and build and make art and stuff like that. But if um if money wasn't involved in the NFT space, I don't think the space would be around. So I completely understand with what you're saying, but I feel like it's just the necessary evil um, to what NFTs are. Dave, if you're there.
I'm back. I think Bride made some incredible points about some of the functionality that could be added for NFT specific or token specific use cases. And it'd be really interesting to see how they implement that. And it's something that both Skirpy and Quilt are trying to do in their own way. So if that's something that you're interested in, keep an eye on those guys. And there's a platform called Illunafric, which is allowing artists to create a portfolio of art. And is trying to maybe attack the other side of that around the social media aspect. So there's lots of people that are trying to do this already, and someone's going to win the race. For me, the functionality is for how we use Twitter right now. I think there's so many like little things that could be done better, like how you could organize your feed potentially, like one pinned post. DMs are an absolute nightmare to manage. You know, if you get a lot of them, they're horrific to manage, and different people are going to want different features and different ways to use Twitter. So I think the best way for Twitter to go for their users long term is to figure out those different users a little bit better. Who's there just for news? Who's there to follow celebrities? Who's there to build a business? Who's there to do NFTs? And then kind of build Twitter like individually per user. I think that's the way forward for Twitter. I don't know if they'll be able to do that. I don't even know if it's possible. But kind of allowing us as users to tailor our Twitter the way we kind of want to use it a lot more. I think that's the way forward, and what needs to happen to enable us to take like the maximum benefit from what we're creating.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's definitely going to be evolving, and I definitely am going to be I want to check out Quilt more, and I definitely want to check out the places that are implementing that, because I feel like that's like the necessary step. Nico?
Yeah, I hate doing the devil's advocate all the time, but I just wanted to say that Twitter was here before the NFT space. Okay, and of course, I get that it's money, it's important for the space, but let's let's look at it from a different perspective, right? You have a football match, and everyone goes to the football match to see the game. Inside the stadium, you have also a guy that sells hot dogs. If you take away the game, you stop having a football match, and you just fill the stadium with hot dog sellers, then nobody is going to come to the stadium. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel that if we just
ask, like, what is, in your analogy, what is the football game?
The football game is basically the concept of Twitter to have a lot of different kind of entertainment for the users,
yeah,
right?
So I completely agree. I mean, we are all deeply into the NFT side of Twitter, but there's so many different parts of Twitter that people don't interact with the NFT side of Twitter at all.
Exactly.
So I don't think that, I mean, adding all these things, I feel like adding like what Bri was saying with the buying and selling and stuff, I feel like the people that are staying away from that would stay away from that. But I also think that because it's on the social media that people are already using, a lot of people would want to discover what it is and join the NFT side of Twitter. I mean, we're all kind of like going down this one road where it's like we only talk about NFTs, everything's NFTs on here, but there's a whole giant, like, we're only a small percentage of the entire user base of Twitter. Like, you know, there's the whole OnlyFans side. People only follow people on OnlyFans. They have nothing to do with NFTs, or people just follow celebrities, and or people just want to speak their mind and just post and stuff like that. So I I feel like it's kind of like what you said. Like, so Twitter is like the football game, and there's a hot dog vendor in there selling hot dogs, but there's also, you know, a guy giving out free T-shirts, or like, you know, selling beer. It's like a bunch of different aspects of the game, and I don't feel like, I mean, it uh, evolving one of those things would be like if you're at the football game and there's a giant hot dog vendor and everybody sees it, not like people who want hot dogs will go there, but people who don't want hot dogs will see it, but maybe not interact with it. Nico, I love hot dogs. I want a hot dog now.
Well, yes, you're right, but this you're looking at it. You're looking at it by the perspective of where are we standing right now. Okay, because everything that Bree said and also Dave said about how how the Twitter is going to evolve into a place where you can buy and sell and use wallets and everything. That's what's going to happen, right? This will also get into other parts of Twitter. For example, random example, right? We saw some days ago Donald Trump. He got into NFT space, right? He made his own NFTs. Of course, he's not part of Twitter at the moment, but I suppose a lot of other politicians, a lot of other famous people, they will try to do the same, and they will try to use their own kind of sector. It's gonna be politics, it's gonna be fashion, it's gonna be, I don't know what, journalism, whatever. They're gonna try to mix and blend stuff that they can easily monetize and use the platform for that. And this means that a lot of information and a lot of stuff that were real before, now it's gonna be fake, just because money are gonna get involved. They will say and they will do stuff just to get money. And that is gonna happen to everything. Another example, we have Twitter Blue. If you are a shit poster, let's say, you make memes, that's your thing in Twitter. There's a lot of people that they just get inside Twitter only for the memes. If you are this kind of person that creates memes and you have a huge following, but now you realize that if you don't have Twitter Blue, you're gonna suffer the consequences in interactions and everything. This means that you also need to start making money out of your memes in order to pay Twitter Blue. But this will have an impact on the content that you are going to create, because you will stop doing what you like to do before, and you will start creating stuff that you will see that they're selling. You know, I mean, there are so many things when you're putting into the equation money. There are so many variables that are changing simultaneously that it's impossible to keep Twitter as it was before. It's not going to be a stadium anymore with a football match. It's going to be something else. Maybe it's not going to be as tragic as I'm saying now, maybe there's still gonna be an arena with lions and not a football match or something else. But it's not gonna be the same. That's for sure.
And I completely agree with that. And I feel like that is definitely a thing that would happen. I mean, it's kind of just like the NFT space right now, with all the rugs, people making collections specifically just to try to get as much money as they can, then abandon it. And it's kind of just like how it goes. There's always going to be some bad eggs out there. There's always going to be someone who is shit posting memes that only makes memes that they know is going to get the most interaction. Um, so I just feel like that's kind of how the way the world works. It's not ideal. It's not awesome, but I kind of just feel like that's fucking life. Goddamn. Secret.
Hi, hello everyone. I wanted to say about what Nico was saying. Shit posters now, but I'm selling shit posters for an example, but any person that makes content, they are selling themselves already. Maybe they are not doing it for money, but they are doing it for exposure, for getting follows. And that's a way of getting sold the same way. And they use what I think we shouldn't be naive. They use what they look and what they see that it works, and they repeat that so they can get more exposure, more followers, and for some of them, this traduce in money maybe in other platforms, because if you get famous in Twitter, maybe you can monetize in other places. Like, I don't know, you can do your own T-shirts or any kind of stuff. So I think it's inevitable, and exposure and fame are not money, but are currency still. And I think there are even more important than money, because it's not more important than money, but it's the easy way to get, not easy. Okay, it is a way to get money. And yeah, there's people here that they come to speak their minds, and they don't care about money but they care about following, because if they didn't care about following, they wouldn't be sketching their tweets and looking at the statistics and all that stuff. And if you don't do that, it's very hard to get engagement. And people now they are doing for engagement and followers, and in the future they will do for money or cryptocurrency that Elon puts inside or something like that. Twitter is already not what it was supposed to mean in the beginning. I mean, in the beginning, it was more like a happy thing. Well, not happy, but more like everybody is gonna say stuff. But celebrities are already here. Donald Trump did this about NFTs, but other celebrities have been doing it. Paris Hilton did it like 1 year ago. She was doing the NFT stuff. This other girl, well, a lot. Snoop Dogg is a lot into it. He's investing more, but he's into NFTs too. There's a lot of people that are, and I think it's good, because NFTs in the end, at least what we are trying is that they blend into the IRL thing, so everything becomes into the blockchain. And there are, maybe Trump is the more viral one, but there are a lot of people that they are famous for another thing, and they made the NFT collections, and that has been happening since at least 1 year or 1 year and a half. And yeah, maybe it's not the best or the worst. I don't know. I think this is only another way to. How can I explain? I don't have so much faith in the humanity. Every person that is making something here is because they take something for it. Maybe it is exposure or but they don't do for free. I mean, nobody is with more than 20K followers is doing anything for free. They are working for something. Maybe it's not money, but they are working for something. They are not doing this for free because this takes a lot of time and this takes a lot of planning. Be every day in Twitter, like and looking the algo and how can you push or not push. The game is already started. The only thing that is missing is the money, and I don't think it's missing really. I think that maybe people don't get money, but they get exposure, and if they are smart enough, they can translate that into money. And that's what I think, really. The shit posters post the thing that they get more likes, because and they all most of them even they use the same memes, like they use the same memes, but they change the text. No, there is no really. I wouldn't say this is free of economic space, because in the end, people just is that what we almost everyone chases, and if the one who is not chasing money is because he already has that money, because let's be sincere, we all need money. In the end, money is necessary. You cannot live without money. And the only people that do things for free and they don't care as much is because they have their life arranged, maybe with their IRL jobs or other things, like I don't know, periodist people, not journalists. They have their jobs, and if celebrities or musicians, they have another income, but they use Twitter for exploiting this more. I mean, maybe Snoop Dogg is not capitalizing about from Twitter, but the people that knows him from Twitter, well, it's weird because people don't know the Snoop Dogg for Twitter, okay? But the people can get to know these people through Twitter. After that, they will try to go to their to their companies or. I'm sorry, I'm not speaking much.
Well, so I think I get what you're saying, and I think that kind of goes with what Nico was saying is, instead of what Nico was saying is like instead of turning this entire platform into like a giant money grab, if you if people see you and want to follow you and go, they can go to the other platforms that you're using to quote unquote money grab. So it's like an example is like you can buy someone's OpenSea. You can buy someone's OnlyFans directly on Twitter, and that'll be like people are posting more and more to try and get people to buy their OnlyFans on Twitter instead of linking people to their OnlyFans, where people who want to go there will go there to spend their money instead of just making Twitter the place that they go. Secret?
Yeah, I know that, but I think the first thing, or one of the first things that Elon said when he bought it, was that he wanted to do Twitter like the Western WeChat. If he wants to do Western WeChat is I think money is completely implemented there, and they have their own. Everything is inside the WeChat. I haven't tried it, but for what I have read there, I think WeChat is like a multi thing. You can do anything on WeChat. You can play video games. You can stream. You can tweet. You can maybe buy tickets for a movie and that kind of stuff. And if he wants to do that, I mean, he said it. He said it from the beginning he wanted to do WeChat. And I think that implies getting more money here, maybe not fiat, but I don't say it's good or bad. I just say it's not a surprise, It's not like he didn't say, I don't want to make money with this. In fact, I think that all the things that he has been saying is he wants this to be a way to, he wants to be Twitter be the only, maybe not the only, but the main social media, and made it bigger, and I don't know if he's gonna make it or not. But it's not gonna be. I don't think it's a surprise anymore, and I think the football game analogy is good, but here I would say that the match, the play should be. It is like information, maybe not legit information, but it is information. People are seeking the what people say, opinions. So there is people that get the news only for Twitter. They don't even look to the newspaper. They just look on trending on Twitter, and they look the news that way. I don't think it's a good way to do it. But there's people who only got in Twitter, and and I think Elon just wants to take all the other social media out. And yeah, Nico.
Yeah, I want to say that I don't really agree with the idea that everyone that's inside Twitter is for the money or he's getting paid somehow, because I think we're just a little bit prejudiced, mainly of our space here with NFTs. There are activists, there are people with political ideas that they work 2-3 jobs. They just get into Twitter to exchange ideas. There are even the seat posters. Okay, it was just an example, but even the seat posters, we shouldn't look seat posters only here in NFTs, that we basically have a bunch of influencers or seat posters that they want to be influencers to make money out of seat posting about NFTs. Okay, there are people that they want to express political opinions and they do memes. These people, they maybe some of them are getting paid, but definitely not all of them. I mean, the majority is not. So I think we are a bit prejudiced here. That's what I wanted to say.
I think about politics and that they are not, but they don't come here for money. They come here, yeah, as you say, to say their opinions, but they want the engagement. They want the people reading their opinions, and that's not money, but it's, for me, it's almost like it is power. I don't know if I mean myself. They want to have a lot of followers, so they can say their propaganda. No, I don't say propaganda as a bad word. Okay, like they want to say, I'm going to talk for this project. Maybe it's an ONG. And they want to do amazing things with the kids, and they just want to give information out. But they want people to read that, and getting people. I think in Twitter there is like two types of person: the people that creates content, that could be any kind of content, and the people that consumes that content. Money is just a symbol, you know. I think the power that some people can have just through Twitter, through their engagement, is more value, has more value than money. Money is a very easy thing to point, but the other people, they want engagement, they want exposure to their projects. I think it's cool. And it's for what is Twitter is made, that to you say your own opinion, and that opinion reaches people like is like-minded with you. But in the end, exposure and money for me are they go very in the same way. Maybe they don't work for money, but they want exposure, and you can get exposure paying money. You know, it's like the exposure is a very thing. It's a very, very a powerful thing. Imagine just if Elon Musk retweeted us one time, that wouldn't be money, but it could be. It is a very powerful thing for all the taco tribe. You know, we would be famous in just one tweet. Yeah, Nico.
And let me just step in. A lot of people just do it for the influence, and the influence will eventually equal money. You know, with sponsorships and things like that. Sorry, Nico.
Yeah, well, this is one approach, I suppose. But there is also influence that someone wants to gain in order to push ideas, politics, ideology, many different stuff towards a direction as well. I mean, it's not always to get money. Of course, there is always the possibility to do this and gain money. But if you make the platform a marketplace, then obviously every last one that makes any kind of content here will turn his content into something he can monetize in order to keep playing ball here in this platform. That's why I said before also the example with Twitter Blue. If in order to have the same results, if I need to have Twitter Blue and pay Twitter, I'm not gonna do it from my own pocket just for the influence. I will do whatever I have to do in order to make the money for Twitter Blue. That will alter the content that I'm making today to something different tomorrow. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying, but for example, it's different if you're creating content for Nike. Okay, you're making you are an influencer and you're getting paid by Nike to create some content that you're gonna have also advertisement inside. This is different from an activist, let's say, that is getting to Twitter every day because he wants to save the whales in Iceland or whatever, and he gets inside and he's trying to gain influence to drive policy against killing whales, for example. If he has to find ways to monetize his content here, eventually he will stop creating this kind of content. He will stop fighting for the whales. He will start creating content, I don't know, for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is going to start paying him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'm going to let Dave speak, but I feel like that's the same what it is now. So you're saying that some people aren't here for the money. Like, if money is ruling Twitter, there'll still be people here that don't go for the money, and that just continue to shit post and things like that.
But they're not gonna have the same ability to get interaction, because whoever pays more, he's gonna have more interactions. He's gonna have more visibility on the algorithm. He's gonna have such things that the guy that was an activist before now is gonna struggle to have the same influence in the platform.
Are you saying towards like Twitter Blue or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's kind of like what it is now. Like I opted to do Twitter Blue because of the added benefits. Not everybody has to do that, and I honestly think that like it was said, like, oh, you're gonna see all the verified Twitter Blue accounts first. That, I mean, if that's implemented yet, that's just not working, because my timeline is still full of all my friends that don't have Twitter Blue, and I see the majority of people that I see don't have Twitter Blue. If it does come to that, I think it'll just be like, it sucks, but it's like that's kind of where the platform that we all use is going. Dave?
I mean, I think like there's so much to touch on with all of this, but I genuinely think that we're moving to a world where less and less people want to work for companies, and that, like, certainly within the Western society as we know it, if you like. That's just going to gain more and more momentum. I mean, like you're seeing another round of it right now as offices are trying to start to make people go back to work. There's a whole new round of people silent quitting. Like the same people that did it after COVID, the same people that don't feel valued by, the airlines that the first costs to go were the staff that couldn't work, right? They weren't protected, they weren't looked after. And I think we're going to see a change in employment where, there's a lot more freelance work, there's a lot more contract work, short-term contract, where you're in charge, and we're talking about that content and the opportunities that come from it, and you're seeing young kids create incredible brands on social media, and more people are becoming wise to this. And there's lots of different ways that you can go about pushing yourself, building a brand, making content, creating visibility, making or having earning opportunities within any space. Like how you do it, your morals, your ethics are always gonna come down to you as an individual, and how you hold yourself accountable to them is something that is very, very individual. And as we move towards all of that, Twitter's going to want to be a platform that caters for it, just like everyone else. It's kind of why we're in this space, right? To celebrate individuality. To say, no, you've got a right to push your ideas the way you want, to own your content, to be in charge of what you're doing. So for me, I think this is the right way that we should be looking to progress it, and giving people those opportunities, giving people those chances, like Bryce said, wrapping it into the platform. Do you know what I mean? I just hope that it doesn't get to the point where it's all in, favor of pushing, USDC. And with like what's happening with that in I can't remember I know Argentina hasn't decided yet. I can't remember the country that has decided and has gone USDC. But what's potentially happening with that, and like some of the regulatory stuff, and how all of that comes in, and how that's pushed from Twitter, if we do go that way, I think is far scarier potentially. With the implementation of CBDCs and stuff like that, that we've already seen, and we're going to continue to see. Like, there's a lot more at stake here than how we push our content if Twitter goes that way as a platform. And yeah, I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist per se, but I am quite cynical. And if someone doesn't spend $44 billion on Twitter because they don't want to make money, like that's the crux of it.
I completely agree. I think there's definitely going to be a lot coming up, where more money is going to be more involved in this space, and like Dave said, like you don't spend $44 billion just to own a social media. You do it to make revenue, and I feel like that's kind of just like what's going to be happening. And you can see that already with the first implementation of Twitter Blue, giving, they had Twitter Blue before Elon bought it, but really there was no big incentive to get it. I think his first push was the Twitter Blue, like upgrading it almost, where it's like he's saying you'll see people's posts more often, you'll get the blue check mark, and I think that's just a way to build revenue. And I'm sure that's not his only idea of building revenue. I'm sure there's going to be many other things that he's going to try to implement, to to grow the money of Twitter, and it's kind of just inevitable, especially with somebody that owns a bunch of companies that make money. Um, I believe when Elon bought it, he was saying they were losing like $4 million a month or something like that, and I'm sure that he didn't buy it expecting to continue to lose $4 million a month. So there's definitely going to be some changes that not everybody's going to like. A lot of changes that probably will change the way the space or that Twitter's actually used. But everybody, I feel like, will adapt, and some people that don't will leave, go to different social medias, and that's kind of just how the way the world works. we are getting towards the end. If anybody has anything they'd like to say or anything they would like to add, I would love to hear it. And I'm not saying we can cut off the conversation right now, but just want to wind it down a little bit. So if anybody has anything to add about the way Twitter's going, other social medias building as well, I would love to hear it. Yeah, go ahead, Nico.
Well, as a closing speech, let's say, I would just want to say that I feel that there is a lot of diversity in the content that exists in Twitter. I have a fear that if there are more money getting involved all the time, this diversity will start to shrink, maybe even disappear. We see that in real life. We see in the societies that we're living how media, how different sectors, how politics, how everything gets wrapped up around money, and we pretty much see in every aspect of our lives the same news, the same stuff. Everyone says the same. And Twitter is not like this. There's a lot of diversity in Twitter still, maybe less than there was before, but still you can find the different opinions in everything. And I really want this to keep being as it is. So I just hope, because I have faith in Elon Musk, I always had. I want to believe that at the end of the day, he will find the solution to keep, to monetize, to find ways to make money, to keep some sectors of NFT, of Twitter, like the NFT space, as a space that has money and creates money and has promotion and etc. etc. But I also hope that he will find ways to keep some different spaces, let's say, pure, and that we could keep this diversity thing going on, because it's important, and I believe that's what makes Twitter unique. That was from me.
I feel like, and from what you were saying, I feel like he's gonna do two things. He's gonna do things that grow the revenue of Twitter, and he's gonna do things that bring more users in. I don't think he's gonna be implementing anything that's gonna be pushing users away, because that just correlates with him losing more revenue. So, and it kind of goes back to what they did recently with the third-party links. A lot of people were talking about leaving, going to different social medias, and there was a lot of uproar about it. And he reverted that because he doesn't want people leaving. He wants the majority of people to stay. He wants more people to come use the platform more often. And I think that his decisions in the future will reflect that he wants people to stay. He wants more people to come. He needs more people to come, or else the Twitter won't be viable to him. He'll, sell it or step down. I mean, I feel like he definitely needs somebody checking him on what the fuck he's doing. But I feel like overall, like just him listening, I think is a big, and saying he's wrong, like Dave said, is like a big step forward and a big positive step. Dave?
Just closing thoughts on this for like context or food for thought for people. Twitter lost over $1 billion in 2020 and 2021. It saw a massive drop in users, or a trend in a drop in users. Social media and technology has dropped hugely as a sector this year. And we've also seen that drop off in our industry. Like, our industry is arguably at the forefront of technology, right? And we use social media to operate within it. So we're feeling the pain more than arguably anyone else. And, you know, like from that perspective as well, Elon wouldn't have invested that money if he didn't see potential. Again, you don't spend that money if you don't have plans, if you don't have ideas. And the share price of Twitter was kept artificially high for 6 months when everything was going on, when every other social media platform share price was tumbling. And every other social media platform has shedded staff all year round, but Twitter couldn't do that because it was in a 6-month transitional purchase period. So I think a lot of the things that happened very, very quickly, a lot of the big changes, a lot of the big shocks were essentially like a 6-month wait on all of that. And again, he wouldn't have purchased it if he didn't think that it had the opportunity to make money when it had those losses. And I think in 2020 the losses were just over $1 billion, and in 2021 they were about 350 million. So, you know, that's a lot of money for a platform to be losing when its primary income resource is advertising, and that's all Twitter made money on before. Apparently, they didn't sell data or anything like that, or not very much of it anyway.
Yeah, well, I hope they don't go to that route where they start selling data, which, I mean, we'll see with Elon Musk. But yeah, I feel like there's definitely going to be a lot of changes. I feel like a lot of other social medias are going to start growing as well, implementing things, especially while we're in the transition period of Elon taking over and making a lot of changes that are not a lot of people are going to like. I'll probably see Nico on some different social medias, I'm thinking, because I feel like in general, we are going to be moving towards more people make money, Twitter taking a cut of that money. And I mean, and I honestly wouldn't hate the idea of what Bryce said, is like, I can buy your PFP right on Twitter and stuff like that. But I think I think in general with the space, it's a step forward. I think it's a necessary evil, and I honestly am excited for the future. Excited to see where it goes, and excited to see how it turns out. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, but I think in general, Elon's been making a lot of mistakes, but I feel like it's all trial and error right now, and hopefully he implements something where he doesn't have to put out something and then revert his decision when the community hates it. So I'm definitely hoping that he does something like that. Because that's not way to step forward. Having like a polling system, I think a proper polling system would definitely be beneficial for everybody. And like I said before, if a polling system like gets in your face to all the users, it would be beneficial, because then you can poll not just one section, the NFT Twitter. You can poll everybody, even people that just use the website casually. So I really appreciate everybody coming today. I'm going to be jumping off. We're going to be jumping into the Discord. I posted a thing above. We're going to be playing some games in the Discord for some NFTs, for some queso, and then we're going to be playing some poker for some queso and some NFTs. I do want to say that as of tomorrow, Bry has finished the Guac collection contract. He's finished the DApp, and tomorrow we will be dropping the Guac collection for holders of our Guac token to mint. I'll be making a big howdy do about that tomorrow. But I'm very excited. Bry's been working really hard. We're almost at the end of our first stage of the giant fucking list I asked him to do. So I'm very excited for that, and we also have plans for something very special in the future as well. Not really hashed out, but big day tomorrow. We're going to be dropping the Guaco Tribe collection, and I'm pretty excited. I hope to see you guys next week here, and I hope to see you guys right now in the Discord playing some games. earn some NFTs. And I mean, I won poker last week, so I'm feeling pretty confident. So if you guys wanted to come try and bluff me, go ahead. But check out the tweet above. Come hang out, and I'll see you guys next week, if not. But I hope you guys have a great day. I really appreciate everybody coming up to speak. I love when we get so many different opinions. And I love when we can actually discuss it and not like be at each other's throats because we all don't think the same. So I really appreciate the definitely productive conversation today and all the ideas, and I can't wait until next week. So I hope you guys have a great day. Go drink some water, go touch some fucking grass, and I'll see you guys next week.